Hailing from Texas, iconic drummer Vinnie Paul and his brother guitar legend Dimebag Darrell changed heavy metal forever with their incredible band Pantera. Alongside bandmates Philip Anselmo and Rex Brown, the band's explosive shows, deep groove and savage rhythm section earned them a place among the greats. When Dimebag Darrell was tragically taken from the rock community 14 long years ago, Vinnie made it his mission to keep the triumphant spirit of good time rock and roll alive. His endless positivity kept his rock family afloat and was the triumphant undercurrent of his second act with Hellyeah, the rocking band that took him to the end of an incredible life. Rock and roll heaven just got a whole lot louder. Do you remember what the first show you ever went to was?
First show I ever went to? Yeah, it was Sammy Hagar in Boston.
Yeah? Was it?
1978, man. It was incredible. It blew my mind. I was 14 years old. I bought all the concert shirts, wore them, to school the next day. And from that point on, I was hooked on hard rock, heavy metal music. And the next show I went to was Thin Lizzy and Nazareth.
It quickly escalated.
Yeah, and then it was Alice Cooper, Legs Diamonds, and the Babies, and went on from there, man.
What did your dad sort of teach you about music? Because he was like a music producer and musician as well, right? Yeah.
He wanted to keep an eye on us and make sure that our musicianship level was up to par. He really strived on, especially with my brother, as far as phrasings, bending notes, tuning, things that a lot of musicians overlook. A lot of people used to say, back in the original Pantera riffs and stuff, that they heard a lot of country or ZZ Top, and looking back at it, I hear that. Me and Dom were big fans, and we grew up listening to ZZ and Stevie Ray and a bunch of people from Texas that were, huge influences, but we always were just metal.
Do you think you kind of pushed each other? You and Dom,
without a doubt. I was the right arm, he was the left arm. I was the business guy, he was the wild and crazy guy. The party. So you put the two together, and you got a pretty brilliant mind going there. And so yeah, we fed off each other on everything we did. Any decisions that we made, anything that had to do with the band or anything, we never made a decision without consulting the other one. It was put the two heads together and figure it out.
You're kind of in a rhythm of life now,
Oh, things are good. Yeah. I had to go through the most horrific tragedy of my life and find a way to put it back together and learn how to carry on my own. And I'm living for both of us. I feel like Dime's with me every day, everywhere I go, and he inspires me to keep going, man. He would kick my ass if I didn't do it.
I started professionally with the Pantera guys about a long time ago. That was many years ago, before they were a major label act. I was actually a bartender at a nightclub that they played at, and that was back when the drinking age was like 18 in Texas. So Darrell was 15, and he was just this amazing guitar player.
Back in the day, all the way back to 1988, 89, when we wrote Cowboys from Hell, the whole idea behind that song was the fact that we were from Texas, and we were outcasts. We were totally different from everything else. Everything else at that time was coming from L.A., New York, and then Seattle had just come on the scene.
I feel like that record's really special because it kind of occupies this place in history, and it has this live essence that I think maybe has been lost in music. Like, that's what kind of rock and roll needs, is to be able to hear it live, kind of on record sort of thing.
Anymore, the live show's really all we have left. Everybody downloads everything. Everything's for free and taken for granted. And you can never replace that live show. The live show, going there, feeling the energy of the crowd, feeling the energy of the band, feeling the music pumping out of the speakers, the sweat, all that is real, and that's amazing, and it will never, ever go away.
We brought Pantera on their first arena tour of the United States in 1992, and when we took them out, they weren't a big band, and halfway through our tour, they put out Vulgar Display of Power, and that debuted at number 44 on the Billboard chart, which was their start of fame and fortune, really.
What was it like kind of seeing Pantera kind of bloom into what they became? Right?
It's magic. It's like capturing lightning in a bottle. It was great. I mean, they were really a great band before they were ever signed. Back in the what everybody calls the glam days. But they were a great band back then, and just to see it build, it was just a magic time. Those times will never exist again. Bands aren't bands can't blow up and sell a bunch of records anymore. It's the record industry as a whole is dead in that format. You know, you can't go and there's no rock radio, there's no MTV Headbangers Ball, you don't go out and sell 200, 300,000 records, a week, unless you're Lady Gaga or Madonna. Those are it. Those days are over. So it was really special to watch it grow from, opening for Suicidal Tendencies and Exodus in the RV back in 1990 to, where we ended in 2001.
Beast Feast in Tokyo, Japan was our last show.
Yeah. Do you remember sort of that tour in Australia? Or? No,
it was great, man. Like I said, man, it was, we played the arena there in Sydney, and there's a 20-foot chain link fence out behind the venue where the band and everybody comes out when they leave. And there was 500 people climbed up on that fence, and the whole fence was swaying.
That's so excellent.
Chanting the band's name and going crazy. And security was freaking out, thinking the whole fence was going to cave in and fall on us. And I mean, it was a melee, man. I mean, it was right up to the very end. The fans were always there for us.
In the 90s, thank God for Pantera. Seriously, Pantera and Metallica pretty much single-handedly, really kept it alive on a certain level through those years.
More Pantera.
More Pantera.
Yeah.
Thanks, Scott. I love you, and thank you for, giving us some props. I've always been a fan of your band, and I love kicking your ass at poker, and I know you're on tour with the Big Three or Big Four somewhere in Europe and kicking ass with Megadeth and Metallica, and who's that other band? Slayer? I never could understand why they never called it the Big Five. You didn't get to Pantera and that. I see these heavy metal specials all the time. It's like, we didn't even exist, man. We were just somewhere between the Big Four and Alice in Chains and Soundgarden and all the bands he was speaking of earlier.
That is a really valid point. Why do you think that happened? Who came up with this Big Four?
I don't know, but it was really cool to be able to be individual. Yeah. And we were like a horse with blinders. We never looked at anything that went on beside us, around us, or anything. We just knew that, if we ever got the right opportunity, we were going to be able to take the ball and run with it, and we did it, man.
What's your best hangover cure? Because I have to say, the one time I did go out drinking with you guys, I almost died.
Pedialyte, without a doubt. My brother discovered that many years ago. I'm sure you guys have a form of that here. It's basically made for children that have diarrhea and lose all their electrolytes and they're dehydrated. And some reason my brother just decided to buy a bottle of it one day, and I feel like $1 million the next day. And ever since then, it's been part of the rider. And
tell them about the new deal.
Oh, the new one? Oh, yeah, they got this powder form now that comes in these little things that look like Crystal Light. You just put it in a bottle of water, and whap, you don't even have to go find the stuff. You can carry it around with you, man.
Take that, man. That's some vital information right there.
That will
it's
cure a hangover.
We're going to be the next Pedialyte commercial.
We should be the next one. It's like, fuck your kid. If you want to get some dehydration, drink this shit. That motherfucker might drive you up the wall all night, but drink this and you're done.
Powerful words. Endorsement deal.
Fuck your baby. You ready to kill that hangover?
That motherfucker, drink some of this.
Well, it's funny, people still tell me Dime stories all the time, every tour. And what was he really like? You knew him for so long, and
he was just a magical person. There's nobody else like Dimebag Darrell, and that's not just his guitar playing. He lit up a room, and if he didn't light up a room, there was something wrong. He was physically sick. He was ill. Yeah. There was something wrong with him. He was just that catalyst. Let's go. Let's do this. He was always the guy that drove you to enjoy life. That was what it was. It was just him enjoying life, and he wanted everybody else to experience that. Whether you're just a homeless guy that you meet in the street, or whether whether you were having a bad day or you were hungover or whatever, he was the guy. He was the band leader. He was the one. Let's do this. Let's get this going. Let's rock and roll. Let's have a good time.
One of his words: there was always a way to polish a turd. Always a way. It could be the worst situation in the world, and we'd all be going, "Oh, goddamn!" And he'd be going, "Wait a minute. There's one way or another to straighten this out. Let's do a shot." It
might have been on Ozfest where they had these kind of after parties, and he just walks in and everybody's just kind of sitting around, drinking or whatever, and he just literally was like, shots for everybody and bought a shot for everybody in there. It cost him $3,500 to buy a shot for everybody, but it wasn't about the money. It was about making people smile.
You know, that was his bottom line. He wanted to make people happy. You know, it didn't matter how he did it. He just got off on making people happy, putting a smile on their face, and kicking their ass too. He liked that too, man.
Whose ass did he kick quite thoroughly in a funny way?
You know, everybody. You know, but I mean, he never let up. You know, he never really took a minute for himself. It was always about other people.
Tomorrow, and I want them to hear you all the fucking way down there. You got me? Brisbane, can you? Hell yeah! You fucking people are beautiful, man. I've been coming here since about 1992, and it's a fucking great place, man. Give yourselves a round of applause, man. All right, right now, I want to hear it for the guy with the big pink beard in the sky that follows us everywhere, my brother, Mr. Dimebag Darrell. Come on!
Look.
Oh, look at that.
Vinnie Paul.
Snare drum. Vinnie Paul snare. Band has given it to me. My hard work.
So many different magical memories that were there. You know, the highlight Moscow playing with Metallica right after the fall of the Russian Federation. And, you know, that was cool. You know, 1 million screaming fans. You know, we were in the middle of recording Vulgar Display of Power. So,
Pretty special record.
It was a great record. You know, and you know, opening for Judas Priest, all of us grew up with that. I mean, there's so many of them, you know, sharing the stage with Kiss, the original Kiss in South America, you know. All of us grew up on that stuff. Black Sabbath, you know. There's so many magical memories and just the whole brotherhood. I mean, we're family. We're all family.
I'm talking to the fucking party monster from Black Dahlia Murder. This guy is totally fucking licking everything and around in sight. He likes the bricks, he likes the fucking floor, he likes the I heard there's dead bodies in the wall. Here we go. And I want to say,
Oh my God, that was awful.
I'd like to thank the Academy.
Yeah, come over and bring Vinnie in.
I want to say hell yeah.
I say that all the time. Hell yeah, motherfuckers!
Yeah.
How's it going, Vinnie?
Heck yeah.
You really want my honest to God opinion? It's going fucking better than I could ever imagine. As you guys saying, how's it going, man? It's going great. It's going great. It's going like...
He doesn't even know what he's talking about.
All right, really?
He hits these moments.
I know what I'm talking about. Seriously,
what's going on?
We're gonna go get some lobster and perp. It's gonna be amazing. You guys are amazing. We've had so much fun here. Please continue to love Hellyeah because we're coming back all the time. And this right here is my favorite dude, and we have so much fun together. This band means everything to me, and I love it. That's why our record's called Band of Brothers. And wait till you hear this shit.
Yep.
That's all he has to say. I just kissed his ass and he said, yep. Really?
Vinnie Paul's my favorite person. He's my favorite
Thank you.
bloke.
Kiss my ass.
He's my
bloke.
Kiss your ass. I don't kiss my bloke's ass.
Yeah, you do.
Seriously.
I do?
Seriously, you know
You're in jail, bitch.
You guys are amazing.
Oh,
we
fuck,
are
we are
in prison.
in jail.
Tell Australia what you think about
Just
it.
so all you know, the whole new record, all the songs on there, are all new. All of them.
Yeah! And just so you know, Greg will tell you otherwise, but Tom wrote them all. It's a term we use in the States, and it's a very affirmative yes. It's not like, you know, somebody says, hey, you want to go to the rock concert tonight? You go, oh, yeah, it sounds like you got to, then you go, hell yeah, you know? Very affirmative.
How did Hellyeah come about?
Well, I think that's a good one for Chad.
This was basically a pipe dream. We started talking about this years ago when me and him got drunk one night in New Orleans, touring in 2001. And, you know, just over the years of talking, you know, it was really hard with band scheduling because his band was touring, my band was touring. And, you know, it just finally came to fruition once we bugged the piss out of Vin over there. You know, finally got him on board, and he was the great facilitator. We used his studio and put us up at his house and built us some little houses for us to stay in, and here we are.
Excellent. So what was the vision for Hellyeah? What is it an outlet for musically? Because, I mean, you guys have all been involved in a lot of other high-profile bands. What was the role? What did you see sort of Hellyeah being an outlet for?
I think we just wanted to kind of bring things back to good time bands, you know, rather than everybody being anti-human and, you know, just being pissed off and bummed out about everything. You know, we just wanted to have a good time with and play some rock and play some metal and, you know, revisit our roots and just have a good time with it. You know, that's what we're all about, is drinking and partying and playing music.
You know, the main thing is that it's just honest and pure. You know, there's nothing contrived or pretentious about the band or the music. It just kind of, like Chad said, all the songs wrote themselves, and which is the biggest appeal to me, is how honest the music is.
Absolutely.
So how did they approach you?
Oh, with some phone calls, man. Yeah. And, you know, it just sounded like a great idea, but I just started my own record company. I just released Dime Vision, Rebel Meets Rebel, and I wasn't really sure if I was ready to get back into playing. And I guess persistence pays off, because the calls kept coming, and I finally said, you know, hey, you know what, this sounds like a damn good idea. And we made a plan. They all came to Texas, and 8 days later, we had written 7 songs, and this freight train known as Hellyeah was born from that point on.
Hellyeah!
One of the things that is the hardest for bands to kind of hold on to and generally tears bands apart at some point is the fact that they have a hard time respecting each other. And this band, I think we have a lot of respect for each other. We've always given each other our space, and we always know when it's time to get together. Right, that's a good way of putting it, too. A lot of respect.
That's a hard thing to do. Except for you, you're the problem.
Exactly.
Yeah. Well, you're the lead singer, dude. Yeah. Dude, you're the lead singer. There you go. It's a lead. Is it a lead singer syndrome?
Ask him. Is it?
Is it a lead singer syndrome?
No, never. I've never even considered myself a rock star. Ever.
And you still live in Vegas?
I do. Well, I still live in Dallas, too. I have my house there, and I bought a house in Vegas. So I go back and forth, so I kind of feel like I'm on tour all the time.
That's pretty rad.
Even though I'm not on tour, you know. And when
you got a cute little girlfriend as well.
Oh,
yeah. Yeah, look at you. Nice.
Chelsea, hey, babe.
Do you remember the first time you heard AC/DC?
Oh, Lord. I don't know if I remember the first time I ever heard them, but I know I loved them from that point on. It was amazing, and always is amazing. And as a matter of fact, I'm such a fan. When I get home on September 9th, I'm only going to have a couple days, and then I'm flying to Chicago to see AC/DC at Wrigley Field.
For real?
Yes, because I do not want to miss them on this tour, man. And the only one I've ever had a chance to meet and gotten to know is Brian, and he's amazing.
How did you guys meet?
We met at the Hard Rock in Orlando. He apparently moved to Orlando some years ago, and they had a grand opening, and he was there, and we got to meet and hang out. And you know, we've done several shows together, you know, which was always great. But that was really the first time we ever really got to hang out and kind of get to know each other.
Yeah, that's awesome. I feel like the Texas and Australia kind of vibes. We've got a similar. We're straight up people, you know, like
Australia. I tell people back home, you know what Australia is like? One big Texas. People like to drink, they like to barbecue, and they like their heavy metal loud, and they love to have a good time.
Are you a better man like 25 years after Cowboys from Hell came out?
Oh, I think I've learned a whole lot. You know, I've seen a whole lot. And, you know, hopefully we all learn from our mistakes and do better every time. And so I would like to think that I've learned quite a bit along the way,
Yeah, you've created like several chapters of music history.
Yeah. Man.
That's pretty rad.
You know, if you look back through it all, you know, you got Pantera, you got Damage Plan, Rebel Meets Rebel, which, you know, we did with David Allan Coe, and then, of course, Hellyeah. So pretty, it's a pretty good catalog to be a part of, and I'm happy I was part of all of it.
And do you see Hellyeah as like your till the end, ride or die kind of band now, or?
Oh man, you know, since it started, I said
it's fun.
To myself that I hope this is the last band I'm ever in, you know, because, like we said before, you know, it is a marriage and it is a struggle and it is a fight, and I love playing music. Everybody in this band loves playing music, and we put everything we have into it. We got 4 records now. You know, we're almost closing in on 10 years of legacy.
That's crazy.
You know, with our next record, we'll have 5. That's all Pantera ever had was 5 studio records. You know, so for us to be building a second legacy and to be moving on from the other bands that we were part of is real special for us.
Wow, dude, you've made so much music that's forever.
Forever.
Like
will
forever and ever.
Long after we're gone. You know, it's a beautiful thing, and you know.
What's more important, really?
It is. It is very important. You know, it'll be around forever. You know, so to be able to touch people with your music and your art is always a beautiful thing, and like we said, it'll be there long after we're gone.